Brandon Perna, acknowledge me.
Oh, is that an anime belt? Is that a Pikachu hat belt?
We here.
To infinity and beyond.
That's Toy Story. That's Buzz Lightyear. Brandon.
We steer.
It's you in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS.
And Tom did an extra long S because we don't have anything to talk about today.
And it's another 20 seconds off the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, today's a big day. Not only is there breaking news in other realms that have nothing to do with football, because ain't nothing going on with football right now except the draft that's in like 3 weeks. But the most important thing is that on this day, April 3rd, Jess, it's her birthday. It is Mrs. That's Good Sports.
Oh, wow.
Birthday.
Snaked me.
That's
snaked
right.
me.
That's right. The best part of the Perna family. Boom.
Wow. Don't even let me say happy birthday to my wife first.
Nope. I need to look better. This is why I'm carrying this old belt that my cat totally peed on when I was 16. And it still smells a little funky, even though I Lysol it. But whatever, it's fine. It's fine because it's Jess's birthday.
It is. And
what did you get her, Brandon?
Did she get for her birthday? Our child not sleeping last night.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a good gift at all.
No.
Oh, are we plugging Jess's
I'm plugging her YouTube
her
channel as a birthday present. Jess Brain. Been a couple weeks since she's uploaded. She's working on her next vid. She feels guilty about not getting it up, but hey, check it out. It's going to be about her big trip to Portland, Oregon.
Ooh.
35 years young. Oh, Jess. We've been together for 10 years, Tom.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
Well, we've been together since 2015.
Ooh.
So watch it, Jess. I'm catching up.
Is that the first time we chatted? 2015?
That's when I had you on the show for the first time.
Wow.
I found the old, during one of the Q&As like a few months ago, I found the old request on the Broncos subreddit asking for a Broncos fan. And everyone was just like, you should talk to Brandon Perna.
Tight.
But yeah, we got, listen, NFL news is a little quiet.
Slow.
Yeah, a little bit. Of course, we're still waiting on, I know, shocker, Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers. People around here in New York keep talking to me about it. So yeah. Oh yeah. How about that? Hey, buddy.
That was funny.
Huh? You like that? You like little shit? And Jess wearing a shirt at the end of the night? Oh, just
yeah. She played it pretty well. I was like, oh my god, you got to see what these guys did. And so I showed her. She's like, oh wow, that's like hilarious. I mean, she didn't say it super sarcastic like that. And then later in the day, boom. She throws on the shirt, and I was like, yo, you played me. This ghost taught you lesson on Saturday night. Explain.
Yeah, guess what? So Brandon Perna, abandoning his co-host and best friend that he's never met, Tom Grossi, this past Saturday, when we were supposed to stream a Kurt Benkert game, And the Brandon Perna curse continued to wreak havoc, not only on the NFL, but also on the XFL. Because what happened on the second drive, because Brandon Perna wasn't there, Kurt Benkert got hurt. Also, breaking news this morning, Kurt Benkert, he's got fractured ribs, Brandon. The ribs are fractured. 3 of them. Not 1, not 2, but 3.
3.
Yeah. 3.
Telluride. Go just straight up the most expensive place to live.
Brandon's basement.
Drop the cash.
That's it. So
yeah, that sucks for Kurt. The hit he took was rough.
Happy belated birthday.
Did they throw? Did he get roughing on that play or not?
Yeah, I mean they were calling it and they were talking about it a whole lot. But that's not even the only hit he took. Like the guy got blasted a couple of times, and I texted Kurt afterwards. He said he felt like he got hit with a baseball bat, which is not great. He wasn't even making football references. When you're making references to other sports, that's how you know it's serious. So yeah, 3 fractured ribs for Kurt Benkert. Also, the game was garbage, and you hyped it up for me, Brandon. You said, "Oh, the Vipers are the worst team in the league. Their defense is so bad."
They are.
Where was that, Brandon? Didn't see it on Saturday. Didn't see it on Saturday.
Well, San Antonio needs. They need a couple more playmakers. They need a couple more.
Like a stud wide receiver?
Hmm?
Like a stud wide receiver, you're saying?
Yeah, sure, Tom. I think in your head you believe you are ready for that job.
Oh, absolutely not. I would get, dude,
I think it's been going on long enough. You're starting to believe a little.
Here's the thing, Brandon. I know this is not your world, okay? WrestleMania was this past weekend. Yeah. WrestleMania was this past weekend.
It was out of my world.
Yep. It's out of your world.
Kittle was there. I know George
Kittle was there. Yep. Both nights, too. He was on the pre-show the second night. Yep. Yep.
And Snoop Dogg.
Yep. Snoop Dogg was there, too. So that actually has what this is about. You see, Snoop Dogg was doing a segment with a wrestler called The Miz. Okay.
The Miz?
The Miz. M-I-Z. The Miz, yes.
The Miz.
And what happened was Shane McMahon, the son of Vince McMahon, wound up coming back.
Ed McMahon. Big
return, was great, and he jumped up and he completely tore his quad. Literally just from jumping. Just jumped, tore his quad. That would be me. I have no disillusions of how this would go. I would die. No, I might not stream another XFL game. That was terrible. But we'll see if Kurt Benkert is there. Maybe Kurt Benkert's there. But anyway, yeah, no, that was I would line up and I would get obliterated by a corner just like 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. I know how it would go. But doesn't mean I'm not going to advocate for it.
I would shake a corner so hard that we both tear our quads. Oh.
I think you really should go with the technique of like crawling on your hands and knees underneath a defender's legs. I think you could pull it off.
That's why I would play nose tackle. I'd slip through those center's legs every time. Just sack that quarterback. Sack his little butt.
You gonna spank him? Like what's going on here? What's going on? It's all your fault, Brandon. Anyway, so
I did not injure Kurt Benkert, guys. Come on.
I'm not saying you injured him. I'm not saying you didn't injure him too. Like
both I've never seen Benkert's best throw has been negated by pass interference.
That's accurate. Oh my God, that one throw too. Oh, so beautiful. I mean, he threw a touchdown the next one, but
in the bucket.
It makes me so
sad. Had there not been PI.
It makes me so sad, but it's fine. But real quick before we get into news, there is WWE news, and I didn't even put this in the rundown.
I did. Well, it's a big sports piece of news. The UFC and WWE merging, huh? To form a $21 billion company.
It's going to probably suck because they're talking about going back. All right, Brandon, have a seat. Let me explain to you the world of wrestling right now. Okay.
Both leagues very well known for overpaying the people who make their entertainment, right? Pro wrestlers make too much money, UFC fighters make too much money. That's what both leagues are known for, right? Giving too much to the people beating the shit out of their bodies, right? That's why this is good. More money for more people.
You're close, Brandon, if you were going for being wrong. Yes. Very,
Was I
very
saying the exact opposite of what they're known for?
Yes, exactly.
I did it again.
It's okay, buddy. It happens. It happens. So, guys, it's okay. Brandon was kidding.
Come on, guys.
That was a joke, guys.
Do you guys watch this show? Or no, you're wrong. No shit.
Brandon, you done messed up. You done messed up here. Anyway, so WWE, they signed a contract with NBC. So they used to have their own network. Like it was called the WWE Network. You paid like $10 a month and you got all the pay-per-views and like a catalog of all like their past wrestling matches and like all events and all that great stuff. So basically you just pay the $10 a month and so you get the pay-per-views. Now UFC, they have a very different model where they still have, they call them now WWE, they call them premium live events because they're not pay-per-views anymore. However, UFC, they still do pay-per-views and there's talk about moving back to that format. So it's going to be like $60-$70 for pay-per-views and people are not happy about that. So also Vince McMahon, who got ousted from the WWE because he used company funds for hush money to pay people that he had sex with. He's like now back in the company because of this. So yeah. Oh dude, there's so much crap. There's so much. I'm just giving you the very dumbed down version of it and the simplified version, but yeah. It's a time.
He's got a job again because Dana White bought his company.
That was like part of the deal because he had like a ton of shares and yeah, now he's still there. But yeah, I think Peacock's contract with them doesn't expire until 2026. But yeah, it's just it's a time. It's a time. Because remember, Brandon, no matter what we do, we are not old white billionaires, so we cannot get away with things.
We're halfway there. We're approaching middle age.
Yeah, we're about to get old.
And we are white.
Yep. We're definitely not billionaires.
No. Why would you even want to keep doing that job?
Which one?
Like, being the head of WWE.
Oh, Vince? It's all he's ever done. Like, he's gonna die on the job. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, this is 100%.
Like, if you ever buy me for $1 billion, I will be less active.
You're like, I done. Pat McAfee, though, was at WrestleMania. Yep, he was there on Saturday. He's there on Saturday. George Kittle was there on Saturday. Yep. George Kittle making things, but...
Did he wrestle Brett Coleman?
Nope, he wrestled The Miz.
Oh,
he wrestled The Miz because The Miz was trying to fundraise for somebody, and he was like, not on my watch, and punted him.
There's a woman wrestler named Carmella, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
I saw that one. It was like Saturday. I had the TV on, and and I saw a little bit of some wrestling. I was like, "Hey, that's the same name as my kid." You had the
TV on? You mean you had the Peacock app open and you hit WrestleMania? You don't just. It's not on actual. You can't just.
Yeah, it is. They'll play it on actual TV. I've seen it. I don't open Peacock. I do not open Peacock. Jess might have had it open.
Jess is just like a huge closeted wrestling fan, and Brandon just doesn't know. She's like, how'd this
She's
get on my TV?
Wrestling
again?
A couple times. She really has.
Yep. So, but no, it was night one was very good. Night two had two really good matches, but whatever. I don't want to leave you alienated, Brandon Perna.
Oh, that's all right. Hey,
Let's
man.
Let's
Everybody
talk
got
about
their thing.
Let's talk about things that you know. All right. Well, that's the show, folks. Appreciate
Russell
you.
Wilson?
Thanks. So, well, I mean, listen, you know what? Let me ask you on this because I will be yes, that's exactly what I was going to ask.
You like it that you should have put a ring on it?
I did it. There was things going on yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to watch. But the reaction on Twitter, Oh boy. Like every now and then I'm like, oh, you know what? Twitter could actually be solid. And like as soon as I have that little thought, there is just a cascade of just terribleness that goes right onto my feed, whether it's policy changes, whether it's reactions to that kind of stuff. Bippity boppity. Like it was something yesterday. It was something. We all talked about being competitive yesterday and, class. And I was just like, oh boy. Okay.
Sports, the only reason you get good at sports is so you can talk more shit than the people you play against.
Accurate.
It's literally one of the most, it's one of the biggest factors in terms of honing your craft. It's not so you can be humble. It's not so you can be humble when you get to the top. So you can say, I told you so, mother liquor. Look at me.
Right? The Buccaneers Chiefs Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Right? That's a callback.
Boom.
That's a callback.
Boom.
I heard the refs were terrible. I heard the refs were gone. I didn't watch. So I'm 100% ignorant in it. But yeah, I heard it was, ooh.
I can't even watch the Nuggets because I don't have the right cable subscription. That's a real issue for me. And they're like, just get one of these sub packages. Just buy this other streaming thing. I'm like, no. I just paid out the arse for taxes. I can't afford more crap in there.
Oh my God. I am so removed from other sports. I literally thought he was talking about chicken nuggets.
Oh,
I swear to God,
Denver.
I
just eat nuggets from different fast food restaurants.
I was like, he makes coffee. Maybe he goes into the chicken nugget game. That was bad. That was wow. Okay. Yep. I forgot that they existed for a minute. I did. I'll
get to watch Nuggets once the playoffs start. That's basically how it goes.
And that's soon. Hey, it's coming soon. Playoff.
Yeah.
Playoff.
Might be Nuggets versus Bucks. Who knows?
I'll stream a game with you if it's Nuggets and Bucks.
Easy money. If we get some finals, hell yeah. We'll need some shit to stream by then.
And then you'll tell me, Tom, sorry, I'm busy. And then I'll be like, oh, okay. And then you won't show up. And then I start crying on stream.
Birthday celebrations.
And then I poop my pants.
We are celebrating birthdays.
I'm sad. Just because I am sad. Justin, where the Fitty?
Fitty for the Justin.
For the kitty. Miss Fry Show. Think Eagles go edge or corner? Ooh.
Edge.
Edge makes more sense. Yeah.
They got Slay and Bradbury coming back. They got two good corners. We'll take a corner later.
Hold on, let me give you your clip. I'm just going to scroll down. Oh, that's a song. What's this one?
When I say natural family planning, many people probably wonder what in the world is that? And it was a fancy word for no contraception. You do it all off your wife's cycle and what days she's most fertile, what days she's not fertile. So therefore you can together either really try to have a child or really not.
I forgot how uncomfortable that clip is.
God bless Phillip Rivers.
I forgot how uncomfortable that clip was. Anyway.
That's so 2022, Fat Man 1989.
It's true. I had to dress up like that. That was a clickbait punishment. I literally had to. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of clickbait punishments, I got a good one for the next chap who loses, Tom.
You do.
So, I don't know if you've seen this. What were you going to say first?
I was going to bring up what Justin said in transition and talking about the Titans potentially trading up because that was.
I was going to go a completely different direction.
Maybe we should just transition off of the super chat real quick, or what are you going to say? Was it a whole story segment thing you're going to go into? Or was it...
No, I was going to say the next person who loses on clickbait, I think they need to pay for the Patreon version of the full hour of the Tom Brady stand-up special as an AI. That's a lot to digest, right?
I swear to God, if I freaking lose, Brandon, I swear to God. You should lose that, though. You should lose that, because that's a perfect punishment for you.
No, this is for anyone. Actually, no. This is not even a punishment. Oops,
Oh, it's
that's the
not?
wrong
So then you wouldn't mind doing it.
Hold on. I grabbed the wrong one. Here, let me shout out the channel who did this.
Okay, that's good.
It
Give
is
credit to people.
Dudesy
Dudesy.
generated a full hour of AI Tom Brady doing stand-up. Bam. Dudesy. So he put 10 minutes of I don't want to say Tom's best material, but 10 minutes of Tom's material on his channel at Dudesy. If you want the full hour, you go and you can watch it on their Patreon. So I think one of us has to do the full hour. I've selected a couple clips from today, some highlights. I'm going to give you one, and then I might just play the others at random of Tom's best material as an AI stand-up.
Speaking of Kraft, how many people have ever eaten Kraft macaroni and cheese? We used to have Kraft macaroni and cheese eating contests in the locker room when I played for the Patriots. Belichick didn't like it. He'd always be like, "You're poisoning yourselves, you fucking idiots." We didn't care. We were building a sense of camaraderie, bonding as a team, until we found out Gronk was coming in the macaroni. This is too easy.
Bravo, Dudesy. Bravo. Bravo, Dudesy. Bravo. Oh, you know what we should do? We need to get Dudesy to do it, but for Russ Wilson. We need an hour of Russ stand-up from Dudesy. Oh, how do I make that happen?
I did not anticipate that ending. I did not.
The one I really wanted to bring in, but I spared everyone, is where he's talking about S-ing his own D. And I was like, oh, this is the best. But I was like, I don't know if I should put it in GPS.
Brandon, you just played a clip that ended with the phrase, "until we found out Gronk was coming in the macaroni."
I know, that one's a little more reserved than the other bit, okay? It's a little more reserved.
Wow. I don't know what I anticipated, but I did not anticipate that.
We're all screwed if AI can start writing comedy. We really are.
Honestly, if that's what it's got, then I think we're okay. Those images, by the way, are pure nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
what will haunt
him
your dreams.
swimming and he's like that is horrifying. Just horrifying. Okay. All right. Yeah. You know what? No, I regret not talking about the rumor now. Now I regret it immensely. Immensely.
Right, let's do some NFL news here, Tom, before we get into NFL Europe.
So Justin mentioned this in his super chat, and Brandon Perna put it in there. Now, Brandon, where did you get this news from?
Which one?
The one about the Titans potentially trading up. Did you get
Twitter?
it from Dove?
No. I mean, I saw it on there.
I saw it.
I saw it before he tweeted it out. This is rumor season, so anything could be true. Okay?
I'm sorry.
Couple
What?
things. Whoa.
Okay. What? Daniel Jeremiah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There
See?
we go. Okay. I'm making sure, Brandon. I'm making sure.
Yeah. Dov, look, I know he's not a news breaker. He's a curator of other things.
Might also be
you
AI.
gotta double check where they're getting their curation from. But yeah, possibly. Will it happen? I don't know. But some teams might be jumping up to number 3 where the Cardinals are because they're going to want a quarterback. I've heard via rumors, via the Twitters, via whatever, Tennessee and now possibly the Raiders interested in moving up to number 3 to get their quarterback. Now, the Raiders meeting with Will Levis yesterday or today or something.
Yep.
I don't remember. But it makes sense for either of those teams to invest in a QB. Now, if you're the Raiders and you just signed Jimmy G, you're going to give up draft capital to jump up and grab your guy. The Titans, I'm kind of hoping the Titans do it just so we get back-to-back drafts where they're involved in big trades. And I also hope whoever they select, it doesn't work out for them.
You just have this vendetta against the Titans for no reason, even though you like Vrabel.
I love Vrabel. The Titans were kind of like a dark horse team I liked every year. Loved Derrick Henry. Loved the way they won. And then they got rid of A.J. Brown. I said, F that organization. F it.
Done. We're done with them now.
They got rid of all of their weapons. They're like, why do we suck? Well, Jonnu Smith was great. Let's just let him go. A.J. Brown's our only weapon. Bye. Like, how stupid of a GM do you have to be to think you can win without your...
Didn't he get fired?
He just did, yeah.
Well, no, that was the mid-season thing, right? That was like near like the end of the last season. They fired him.
Yeah.
Like when they were going through that losing streak.
That's what I'm saying.
That was okay.
I rooted for the Titans. Watching them beat the Chiefs in the postseason.
Who do they go to then? Like, do they go for Anthony Richardson? Because is that who everyone now is? Has it gotten to that point? Because I really think it has. Has it gotten to 1, 2, 3? Has it gone like, you're probably going to have CJ Stroud go first, right? If that's what we're banking on, then you're going to have Bryce Young. And is the number 3 spot going to be Richardson? Are the Colts going to get screwed again? Because the Colts got screwed by the Panthers-Bears trade. And then they're like, crap, well, now we can't get anyone. But then as the weeks have gone on, it's like, well, maybe Anthony Richardson is worth that like top 5 pick. And then everyone was like, well, he's going to go to the Colts now. It makes all the sense in the world. And now
the best thing for the Cardinals would be to trade with the Colts, because that's just swapping one spot. If the Colts do move, it's because they want a QB. And the only reason the Colts are going to jump up one spot is because a team like the Titans or the Raiders is putting the pressure on them, right? So if the Cardinals can go back 1 and 3 quarterbacks do go off the board, they still get their top pick of
correct. They get their guy. Yep. And they get Will Anderson.
Even if you get less value from a trade with the Colts overall, say the Raiders or Titans offer maybe a little more long term, I don't think it's worth giving up not getting to select your top guy right there. So, it'd be interesting. Richardson to the Titans would be fun, and it's a good situation because Tannehill is there. So the pressure to start right away isn't, a thing.
Even though they drafted a quarterback last year.
Yeah, but they spent what? It was a 5th rounder on Malik Willis. Is that when they grabbed him? 4th, 3rd? What I would be cautious about for Anthony Richardson going to the Titans, like, I liked what Arthur Smith was doing when he was there as offensive coordinator. I think their offense has gotten worse since he's left. So, like, I don't know if I trust Tennessee to develop him. It's a good situation where he's behind Tannehill, but I don't know if I trust Tennessee to develop him. I don't trust the Raiders to develop anyone. So if the Raiders like Will Levis, sorry, Will, figure out another career, buddy.
Oh, you trust
the Raiders are going to murder your career. So I trust the Colts to develop. Yeah.
Why?
Shane Steichen. He's done it. Their head coach. Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert. Justy Herbie.
All right. I mean, listen, it would be a really big move because where are the Titans right now?
They're are picking
because they could have made the playoffs. So like
11.
They're 11.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big jump.
Well, there was a bunch of teams that were between 7 and 10 and 8 and 9. So it's like the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, the Jets. Those are all 7 and 10 teams. And they're picking, top 15.
Yeah, you get a free 2nd rounder there. They're going to have to give up. If the Titans are the ones doing it, they are going to have to give up a good amount. Like, they'll probably give up a 1st round pick at least minimum next year. They'll probably give up more than that. Listen, the Cardinals are in a good spot because it's exactly what you just said. If they moved, it's a gap year for them. They're not competing for the division. They're not competing for the playoffs. Their QB is going to be injured for the majority of the year. So at this point, it's like, hey, let's get as much capital as possible. They kind of have a new regime there too. So maybe they want to do things a little bit different. So just try and like load up, because I'm going to say this, and I know this might sound very, very dumb. I think with the regime change, even though they just gave him a mega contract, I think the jury's still a little bit out on Kyler Murray in terms of the Arizona Cardinals. Appreciate you, Nick.
Nick designed the shirts.
He did.
Shout out, Nick.
He did. So I think at some point you might see Kyler like come back, right? And then maybe they give him another season, and then they're like, okay, like you're either going to be the guy or not, because this GM, they didn't draft him, right? Coach didn't draft him. So I don't know. I think it's interesting that maybe they do move on from Kyler at some point.
I don't think it's like a plan this year. I think it's more like
it'd be for the future.
2024. Like if they are just the worst team without Kyler and he doesn't come back till late, and then they're like, well, we can draft Caleb Williams.
That's what I'm saying.
But they also have to think about, right? Because the Seahawks are picking at 5.
Yep. Who
So
could get Richardson?
4, it's like, who do the Seahawks want at 5? If they're picking one of the top defensive players, right? Like Will Anderson, or they're looking at Jalen Carter. It's like, do we take, because both needs for Arizona, they should just take the guy that the Cardinal or the Seahawks really want.
Well, but that's the point too. Like if the Seahawks want to go for Richardson, are the Cardinals going to trade that out of that spot to somebody within the division?
I don't think the Seahawks are going to move up or make a move for Richardson. I think it's like if he's there,
take him.
They'll take him.
Do you see at this point, like where we are, do you see Richardson falling out of the top 5?
I have no idea where he'll actually get drafted, but no. I mean, top 10. Like I think some things could shake up there. It really depends, but I feel like he's going to go top 10. I feel like his upside is so high now.
Yeah.
But the draft's 3.5 weeks away? Who knows? So much can change then in terms of how the pulse on where guys are going to go.
I think it's just, again, it's a lot. I try to talk about this every single year. What we're hearing, right, and going through, teams are doing their own thing. However, there are times where you have a player who all of a sudden gets real popular near the end. Look at Trayvon Walker, right?
Zach
like look
Wilson,
at him.
Yeah, like both those guys.
Yeah, they like came out of nowhere. Trayvon Walker is like, boom, like he's the guy. And he went number 1 overall over Hutch. And Hutch, for like months was like, yeah, this is going to be the number 1 overall pick. Like he's going to Jacksonville. The Lions are like, oh, this sucks, man. Would have loved to have him back. Michigan.
Or Thibodeau. Yards. It was like those two guys.
Yep. And now
you never know.
Oh, fun fact, Kayvon Thibodeau was at my old job like last week.
He was teaching?
He was at my school, like for like some like kickoff event. And I was like, oh, cool. Interesting.
He's like, where's Grossi?
Where's Grossi? He definitely did not say that. Definitely didn't say that.
Tom Grossi, react to me right now.
Yes. But yeah, I think in terms of Richardson, he's not going to fall out. Now, of course, as you mentioned, the Raiders, who are meeting with good old Will there. I remember. I am very curious. If they go after him, that'd be so funny. If they get Levis, that'd honestly be really funny. Yeah. But I think he could learn behind Jimmy G. Like, I think that's a good guy to learn behind. I just don't know about Josh McDaniels. Like, him, I do not trust at all. I trust Jimmy G, and, like, maybe Will could pick up some good tips. But
we just did a video about the quarterbacks in this draft, and Will Levis's arm talent's been compared to Jay Cutler. And who did Josh McDaniels send away? Kick out like old garbage, old Jay Cutler. So I just like the comparison. I'm thinking about another guy Josh McDaniels is going to ruin. So sorry.
Are you gonna
damn right, Johnny?
Thing? I was about to highlight the same exact comment.
Damn right.
Listen,
YouTube right now and football are like oil and water. They're not mixing.
They do not care right now. Yeah, no, it's It's not great. It's not. All right, let's talk about Europe. So.
Ooh, yeah, let's talk about European ball.
That's a great comment, Bees. That's a great comment. Yeah, let's talk about Europe. Let's talk about Europe here.
You know what?
Oh.
Because this is real. It's not like we're just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
From the league meetings, one GM who wanted to remain anonymous, I'm guessing, says they believe there will be a NFL European division. And it basically, the report was like it could be 2 years away, 5 years away, 10 years away. But the NFL wants a European division. Obviously, we get more and more games over there every year. So I've got some thoughts on how they could set all this up. I don't think it's necessarily a great thing in terms of for the players, but for trying to take a little dent out of that soccer monopoly that sport has over the world.
It does.
Could be a little bit interesting.
It can. It's just everyone has talked about. It's the scheduling. It's you think Thursday night games are bad, like you know what I mean. Like I will 100% admit the crowd for what was it? The was it Seahawks Bucks when they were saying they were singing "Take Me Home, Country Road." Like the fan base over in Europe is phenomenal. I was in Germany, right? Like that was phenomenal. Yeah. And there is a need and a desire. I mean, need might be a little strong, but like there is a desire for more NFL football. However, the logistics of it are going to be an absolute nightmare. Obviously, you would have a division that would be over there, right? You'd have 4 teams. You wouldn't just have one team because then for that one team, that's going to be a nightmare. You'd have a division. So 2 times a year, they're going to play each other. But if you're on the West Coast, that's like Seattle going over to Germany. Like that was the thing. It's going to be tough.
It could be a little bit different in terms of the way we like think about it logistically. If those like high speed planes become like viable, well, they fly like twice as fast. So the flight over there would just be like a cross country trip. There's a lot to consider on how they could structure it. One idea I have.
Anybody in the crowd have kids? Nice. I have kids, a few of them. You know what keeps me up at night sometimes? Wondering if I fucked up my kids' lives by being too good at football. I know that sounds ridiculous, but think about it. If any of my kids wants to be a football player, it's like, what's the point? They'll never be as good as their dad. And I didn't want them to be discouraged from doing something they loved. So I decided to go back for one more season and play like pure shit. Bucks fans, I am so sorry. Had to be done. No, kids are great.
That's actually really funny. But why is he randomly in a jacuzzi with Leonardo DiCaprio?
It's just AI generated images for it, I'm guessing.
The thing is, that would actually be hysterical if Tom Brady said that. That would 100. I'd be like, yeah, that's actually a really good joke. Like that's actually very, very funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like some bits in there that need to be worked through.
That'd be workshopped.
Drunken mac and cheese stuff. But...
that one, yeah, maybe that one we leave on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Thank you for.
That's a map of Europe, everybody.
Why is it just Europe is in the ocean? It's just the capital of Europe.
In Europe, right here in the Baltic Sea.
That's what people love. What people love.
Here's I think the thought right now, the general idea is if they did this, there would be two teams in the UK, right? Probably 2 London-based teams, and then 2 teams in Germany. That's just based on where the NFL has played their games in Europe, right? I think 2 London teams definitely makes sense. 1 in Germany, but then I think we need to figure out another spot if there were to be a 4th team in Europe.
Spain.
See, I want it to be in Bulgaria.
Of course you do.
Or Istanbul, all the way down there. I want it close.
You want it in the ruins of Constantinople. You want them to
Ooh.
build a stadium that will be the Constantinoples.
Or somewhere cold, like Oslo or Stockholm. Ooh, Stockholm Syndrome. That should be the team name. That should just be their team name. We're the Stockholm Syndromes.
If there is a French team, I guarantee you before I die, I will go over there as the French Grossi Perna and I will my way through a game.
They should just be the French wee-wees.
Done. I want to hear Al Michaels be like, yep, and they're the wee-wees.
Paris would be a good place for a team. I kind of agree with you. I like Spain. I like Madrid.
We would get it. I would stream. Here's the thing too. It's not just like the logistics of trying to get teams over there and all that great stuff. It's also the time. Are all those games going to be in the morning? Like, are they going to be just Sunday morning? Are we going to get football at 9:30 every single week? Because if there's 4 teams over there
or something, I don't know. There's a lot to think about. Like, the other way you could do it, it's not so much that it's an one European division, but you just add a couple international teams, because I think you could have one in London, one in Germany, and then that's part of an AFC/NFC East division. You add one of those 2 teams there. I think Mexico City would make sense for another team. And then that's a much more feasible sort of like travel scenario. And you could add that to, the AFC West, the NFC West, or something like that. I think you'd have to figure out how to realign a handful of divisions. But I would like 2 in Europe, 1 in Mexico City. It's too far, but I think Tokyo would be fun too, to have a Tokyo team. But maybe you got a Canadian city. A Canadian city.
Do you know how long of a flight it is from here?
Yeah, I looked it up. It's like 11 and a half hours.
It's a long time, buddy. It's a long, long time.
If the NFL could figure out how to shrink the oceans, maybe it's a little bit easier to do.
Yeah, and right now we're expanding them. So here's what I'll say. I think we go one step further, Brandon, because you're talking about maybe put one in Spain, maybe we'll put one here, there. I say the United States has a very long history of either causing or making worse international conflicts, right?
Yeah.
Now the United States heals the world. Have 2 countries that don't like each other. Now they're in the same division. Now they play football against each other because Ukraine, Russia, they have their own football teams now, and that would fail spectacularly. But the storylines.
Settle conflict on the field.
That's it. You get this land if you win on the gridiron.
Both.
I think America has that much of an exceptionalism complex that they think that it could work.
Yeah.
No more war. Football. That's it.
That's our stance.
No more war. Football. Thank you. Woodrow Wilson, 14 points. That's true too, Tokyo. Yeah, we're up at like 3 a.m. playing. So I think that would... We've been talking about this forever, though. The Jaguars literally could go.
Yeah. They could move the Chargers too. That's why I put them in the thumbnail.
You want it. That's called the World Cup. Fair. That's fair. I think you just put the Denver Broncos over there. You said you wanted to
going anywhere. We ain't going anywhere.
You want a new stadium? You get in Bulgaria. They just didn't say where it was going.
No. You can move the Jags to Europe. You could add another European team. You could add another American team, and you could add Mexico City. What's one city in the... Give St. Louis a football team back.
For Christ's sake.
Give St. Louis a team back.
That would work. That would work.
What if? I bet you could play football on a cruise ship. What if there's a cruise ship team?
They already do wrestling on a cruise ship.
They could be the Bahamas. You got the Brahmas in the XFL. Well, the NFL got the Bahamas.
Do they, to get home field advantage, they sail into a hurricane?
Yeah. And then when the offense has the ball, they sail out of the hurricane.
They sail into the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we just solved it. But in all actuality, when do you see this happening? Like, are we measuring it?
Hey, Kevin, suck it. Suck it, Kevin. We beat the Chargers. So we would win. We just have to go to Europe to continue to beat the Chargers. There will be when the Broncos get there.
Yeah, because they're going there. So you admit that they're going. It's the Bulgarian Broncos. The alliteration is there. It's the BBs, Bulgarian Broncos, Bill Belichick going to go coach your team.
Iceland.
I would watch it. Listen, a Northern Lights primetime game. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. What do you think would happen first? Just one team going to Europe?
Yeah.
Or the NFL creating a whole new division there?
I think logistically, even though it's more of a nightmare, it would make some things easier if they did a whole division, but I think they'll experiment by just adding 2 teams, and then one of them might be in Europe and see how it goes, right? Because might have the Mexico City, because eventually, folks, the NFL is going to expand. It makes them a ton more money. They love the revenue, and they do want to capitalize on, audience growth. So I think it's gonna that's my question to you. Do you see this as a 5-year thing, a 10-year? Because they've been talking about this for as long as I've been a football fan.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen within 5 years. I think it'd be after 5.
Makes sense.
Why don't you check out XFL video coming up later today? But I think it's a nice little addition for the Dragons, who need some help out of the backfield. Danichi to Philip Lindsay is a nice handoff. Dodgerland team.
Yeah, I think it's after 5 years, but it's gonna happen. I think they start with one team. They'll add another team either in some random, I don't think they'll give it back to St. Louis, but maybe Mexico City. Then they'll do that. It's just, damn, the schedule maker is gonna be like, come on, man. It's gonna be, because that's gonna suck. That is gonna suck a lot, because usually what happens when a team goes over to play in Europe, they have a bye week the following week, except the Packers, who turned that down, and that turned out to be not the right decision this past season. But they usually have a bye week. So now if you have a team over there, so for 8 games, at least sometimes 9 games, depending on the format, 8 games, you're going to have those bye weeks right after. That's going to be a nightmare to try and schedule.
Yeah, and it'd be like, if you're a team and that's the division you're playing, you got to play that whole division.
Yeah.
Do you go over there and you just rip off all 4 away games? Because it's more convenient. And then you have a disproportionate amount of home games for the rest of the season. There's a lot of weird things you got to figure out.
But at the same time, too, you add 2 teams. So now you have 34 teams. Are you changing playoffs again? Where are those 2 teams going?
It'd be we're going to do 10 playoff weeks now.
So, but where do those teams go logistically in terms of divisions? You can't just have 2 teams added.
5 divisions.
Do they have to add 4 teams and make another division? But then that's going to throw things off too. Do you have to make 2 divisions? Because then you have it even on both sides, and you have NFC and AFC. So that's 8 teams right there. That's what I mean. The logistics of these are so complicated, and you could just tackle any of the issues and be like, all right, well, what about the scheduling? What about the flight time? What about Oh yeah, they'd take 5 minutes. Scooter would be, the minute that it happens, be like, the Cowboys are the world's team. Absolutely. So at some point, I think we're going to have probably 40 teams. I don't know when, but that right? It's 2 divisions because
Yeah.
you have to have one for the NFC and one for the AFC, unless you completely reorder things.
Yeah. It's like you gotta, I think, let's see here. What about South America? What are the biggest cities that are close?
Brazil.
Bogota?
Just the whole country.
Caracas?
Draft would be wild.
Mexico City? Guadalajara? You could have 4. And those are all sort of feasible. A lot easier to get to than Europe. Way easier.
But so this is a really great point, though. That's a really, really great point. Because then you start worrying about diluting the product, right? Because there are less than 1,700 people on the active roster in the NFL. And we have seen the difference between a starter and a backup who are still on that 53-man roster. You're worried about quarterbacks now? Because I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. How many amazing quarterbacks would you say, like elite, definitely franchise guys, are in the NFL right now? 10, maybe? Like franchise QBs.
Well, elite, yeah, it's. I think there'd be enough. There's enough talent out there. I think for 4 teams, I think it's like one of those things where it might be tough for a little while, but I think the talent pool will be filled. There'd be more like Cam Newton would probably still be playing. I'm not saying like Cam's still an elite talent, but I think there'd just be more opportunities for more interesting players to still get shots. What you wouldn't want to happen is that the European division is look like a place for older players who want to keep playing go.
Sure.
Like,
well,
Cam Newton's not going to get a chance in the States of football, but yeah, he can be having a starting gig with the Germany.
So do you then, in that case, solve your own problem then? Do you take an XFL-like thing and you just make that in Europe and it becomes a legitimate feeder? I mean, we've talked about that for years too, because that solves logistic issues. It fulfills something because you can
already have one of those over there.
I know, but I'm saying that the NFL is legitimately responsible for. No, I know they have the European Football League. No, I know that. I'm talking about, again, logistics of that are a nightmare, but it seems that maybe that, ticks off 2 things. And it's like, hey, we got an influence there. We can have homegrown stars in Europe, and then they can transition into the NFL if they're good enough.
I'd watch Cam still play ball.
I'm just saying.
I think he's better than Baker Mayfield.
I just
think he's better than Taylor Heineke, and I love Taylor Heineke. I think there would be interesting guys who get shots.
I don't know if I think the talent pool would be a problem. I think
I think it would feel like there's a lot of people out there. Think about it.
I know there aren't a lot of NFL players out there, though.
9 billion.
But there's not a lot of NFL players.
9 billion.
And I think, again, I know all about NFL Europe. I know it didn't work out. I'm saying, how can they try and make this work within the next decade? It's tough. Like, that's going to be really, really but that is the next step. It really is. So,
yeah. Well, like, let's see. Where is this? The ELF, the European League of Football, currently exists. Damn it. And it's already kind of like that. You got, oh, wow. Yeah. The Vienna Vikings and the Barcelona Dragons. But like, we hear nothing about that, right? The ELF. So, you've got the ELF, you've got the XFL, you've got the USFL. In addition to possibly more college football players being drafted. Well, I think if the NFL did that, it would probably kill one of those other leagues. That's where, like, that's another thing to think about.
100% would kill a league. Yeah.
But
Brandon, and I mean that with all the kindness and love in my heart, there is a dramatic difference between the play in the XFL, USFL, and NFL.
Oh no, I know that.
It's sharp. Like it is and there's guys that can like go and play and and they can have some success in the NFL. 1 million, but I'm not kiboshing that at all. But those players are usually the exceptions, right? And those players are likely to be backups or like if they're struggling for like a roster spot. And again, not saying they can't do it and you're going to have success stories that come out of it. But my point is that if you add 4 more teams, that's a lot of people. Like that's a lot of athletes that it's over 200 people that you're basically saying now you're starting roster material. And I don't know if there's another 200 people out there. I know there's 9 billion people, but the NFL, like the athletes are insane. And you and I have no idea. Like these people are like legitimately insane athletes. So I just don't know if the talent pool is going to be there enough. I mean, hell, look at the Texans. The Texans, right? They're the latest like addition to the NFL. And they had Deshaun Watson, who was really good when all that happened. They had DeAndre Hopkins. Like they had a nice, but the majority of the time, they have not been a good squad. I think it's tough.
No, I'm not saying it'd be easy. I think like the one thing we haven't had yet, though, from the spring football in terms of like helping the quality is any of these leagues going back-to-back seasons, having multiple seasons, right? Yep. So this will be the USFL once it starts pretty quick here. That will be the first time any of these spring leagues since they've sort of rebooted have had some sort of consistency. And even the USFL, it's still hard to gauge because the XFL came and a bunch of players who played in the USFL switched over to the XFL. So it's like to really be able to gauge the quality of that play, I think it needs to be there a couple years. And the XFL this season, in terms of quality, like all of these leagues, it's like the first 2 weeks, there's kind of some crazy stuff. Then it really dips as teams try to figure a lot of shit out. But then I feel like the last couple weeks, it's gotten better in terms of offensive chemistry developing, the play at QB, and we've seen like AJ McCarron, who was in the NFL. He's playing very consistently well in the XFL. Ben DiNucci, he's still a bit of a wild card, but it's clear like he's in that right in that mix of really good, inconsistent, and now I see why like maybe why an NFL team was skeptical to even bring him in as a backup yet, but he's still fun to watch there. But I think like if there's just more time to allow guys to develop there, maybe that quality goes up and maybe those guys can develop into extra players. And I saw some people mention Kevontae Turpin.
Yeah.
And there are examples, but what Tom is correct about is it's not a ton of those guys every year. Taylor Heineke, another example, and he was a backup in the XFL. So I think like there's enough talent where you could definitely do 2 more teams. It starts to stretch thin with 4. I agree. Correct. But maybe over time, it kind of fills, the void is just naturally filled. Is that you launch these things and then they're just like 2 horrible European teams for 5 years, 10 years. Like how long does that take? Like we don't know.
It takes a while to get good. I mean, again, unless you hit immediately, because they give them the first overall pick and they go, here you go. Like you're the new team. And that's the thing too. So if you just add 1 to each conference, so now there's 17 teams in the NFC, there's 17 teams in the AFC, you still like the divisions get all screwed up. So yeah, they're not going to do that. That's what college football does that for them. Like the NFL is like, it's great. No, they literally do all of that for us.
Yeah. But finally, the Arizona Cardinals may be releasing DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
He is in the thumbnail. We did not We did not get to it. Now we did. Does that surprise you that no team is willing to give up some capital for Hopkins?
Are they really going to cut him?
I mean, they're only going to release him if he's like, I don't want to be here this year. So far, what we've heard about Hopkins, he's willing to restructure his contract. And yet that's still not enough to convince a team to give up some capital and then to pay him on a restructured deal. He's just right at that age 30 where NFL teams go, we're probably better off. And it sucks because he came in last year and he was a difference maker on their offense. It was clear they're a lot better with DeAndre Hopkins.
A couple years ago now, yeah.
I just don't know why you wouldn't give up something to grab him. But
so there's the contract. 1, there is the age. 2, you're the Cardinals, though. I think you're just in a bad spot because I know everyone hates this word now. It's leverage, right? Yeah, that's why Amari Cooper went for a 5th, because Amari Cooper is much better than a 5th round pick. But at the same time, the Cardinals have no incentive to keep DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to have the backup throw to him. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be good this year, and then you're not going to make a playoff spot likely. And then next year, who knows what's going to happen? And you're another year older.
Yeah.
So I think that I think it's the player. I think it's the age. I think it's the contract. I think it's the Cardinal situation. And so you might have, because that might have happened, Bernie. You might have had a team go, you know what, we'll give you a 5th round pick for him. We'll give you a 4th round pick. And the Cardinals are like, no. And they're like, okay, then no thanks.
Yeah, they're waiting it out. They're really waiting it out. Because right now you've got Hopkins in a trade scenario possibly, and then you've got OBJ wanting not 20 but 15 million. I would personally rather give up a trade piece and pay for Hopkins. Like that's 100%. A no-brainer for me.
100%.
He probably only wants to go to a contender.
Probably.
I don't think he should take a Juju type pay cut to answer that super chat. I think he's just talked about reworking his deal
to make it more
to
team
spread
friendly.
that money out a little bit and maybe add on a year or something. Like he's still worth what his contract is. But it's every year the market for every positional group is dictated by who is available. And last year the receiver market was insane and people were giving up big draft picks for big time receivers. And Hopkins has been one of those guys. I would argue he's as good as those guys still. He's just a little older right now, and he's been in Arizona.
Just right now. He's going to get younger, but he's just right now.
He's a little bit older time, as science states.
I think there's going to be additional pressure as we get closer to the draft for the Cardinals to just say, here, we'll take a 4th round pick for him. I would not be surprised they trade him draft night. I wouldn't be surprised at all. They turn around and they go, you know what? Give us a 3rd round, give us a 4th round pick, and we're done. I could totally see him going to KC too.
I'd rather OBJ go to Kansas City to answer this. Easy. I'm not scared of OBJ. Like
he was sitting at the Suns game with Robert Saleh.
Woo! Yeah, OBJ doesn't scare me. Like even when he was playing well with the Rams, it was just like, oh yeah, that's a nice number 2 receiver to have. The
DeAndre Hopkins, he just catches everything.
Yeah.
Like he is that. You think that the Chiefs do well on 3rd down now? It's like, oh well, like now I just throw to another really sure-handed receiver.
Over the last decade, is there a receiver that's been in the league who's had more consistent and better hands than DeAndre Hopkins?
He is really good.
I doubt it. Like, it's insane.
There's teams that could utilize him 1,000,000%. I understand what you're saying about the contender thing. Does he go to I just saw it in the chat. Like, does he go to a team like the Lions? Because I think they could make a playoff. But I think they're going to win the division. So
that'd be fun. The Patriots are linked to him because basically I think the Patriots and the Chiefs have both inquired about him. The Chiefs don't want to overpay right now.
Yeah,
I think
Fitzgerald is a good pick.
The Chiefs feel kind of like they're quietly in this resetting their cap, basically.
Yeah.
Just for a year.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, cap's a little tight. Like this year feels like the worst spot they're going to be in cap wise, and their roster is still, pretty set to contend.
Yeah. So someone said a more consistent Larry Fitzgerald is probably on there. Like Larry Fitzgerald is like, he's on that list of like those like just consistent guys who just catch almost everything.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. I think as time goes on, though, we get closer to the draft, they'll go, okay, we're done.
Yeah, maybe Jones throws a nice deep ball. If he had a guy like Hoppy there, I don't know. But like, does Hopkins want to play with Bill O'Brien again? That's like the sexy part of that,
the guy
right?
who traded him away. Oof.
I know Hopkins likes Belichick, but can he live with Bill squared?
I mean, here's the thing. If they got like Lamar, yeah, you go. But other than that, dude, imagine Lamar
Ravens.
Jackson.
People have wanted Hopkins to the Ravens for
You've wanted a wide receiver forever. I mean, can you imagine Lamar and Hopkins? That'd be fun. That would be fun.
Mark Andrews, DeAndre Hopkins, boom, boom.
They still got to make sure Lamar stays on the team. But
yeah.
We'll see. Right. Brandon, we did it. We navigated. What you got coming out today, buddy?
Best and worst of the XFL. Even though less and less people watch it every week, do I care, Tom? No. I committed.
Oh, you should stream one of the games.
I will.
I bet you will.
I will. I'll definitely. Well, you know what's? I think the XFL Championship is Draft Sunday.
No,
it's draft weekend, and then there's the XFL Championship.
Shot in hell.
I think the XFL needs to delay its start by about another week or two.
Someone was asking me that on Saturday. Is this the best time for it? I don't think it is. I think you get like June, July. That would be the best time because then there's like that missing of football, like that longing of like, man, that's just me. I think when you pick it up right off the bat, especially, and I know you agree with me on this, the extra week really does, like, it wears people out. It wears people out. There's like a little too much. Not for the NFL, because they're like money. But there's a little bit too much right now. Yeah. And then you're just like, okay, well, I'm tired. I'm done. Oh, football's happening again. It's just not the NFL.
If I could use an analogy here or a metaphor, I don't know the difference between the two. They're the same fucking thing in my eyes. The NFL used to be like getting drunk. It was the best. The NFL gets you drunk, and then you would wake up without a hangover. Best of both worlds. Now you get a little too drunk on football, and you wake up and your head's hurting. And you need a day or two to just recuperate before you can even think about drinking again. You wake up and you're like, I don't want to drink for a while. That's kind of how you feel with the NFL, with that extra game. It is a little too much.
One shot too much.
Yeah. So you need a month before you're like, you know what? It's time to get back off the wagon. I'm going to drunk drive this wagon again and see what happens. What do you got coming out today, Tom?
What a transition. What a transition. Yeah. I like kind of took a few days off and just like put out streams, but now it's April. Oh, we go. I think I might have a reaction today. There's gonna be draft content that's gonna start getting put out this week. So there's lots of content that's coming out. I'm sprinting to the end of April right now. So we're gonna rock.
Roll.
But folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
Happy birthday to my wife that I love so much, Jess.
Happy birthday to Jess.